Good morning and welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of the Swannanoa Valley. My name is Evan Yannick and I'm a member of the Board of Trustees. I'm glad you're here. This is week 15, 16, 17, I don't know how many, but I'm glad that we are continuing to remain together in service, and I want to apologize for the debacle of last week, but hopefully this week is much more smooth. I want to welcome everyone this morning to this day and this opportunity to be together in community. It is a time of joy and comfort and sometimes challenges. This Unitarian Universalist congregation is a place where we come to learn more about being human. We're not here because we've figured out life's questions or because we think we've got it right. We come here to learn more about being in relationship together, how to listen, how to forgive, how to be vulnerable, and how to create trust and compassion in one another. Let us move into worship willing to be authentic with each other, honest with ourselves, and opening to connection in all its forms. Today is a special ceremony as we're celebrating a bridging ceremony for Cora Blozan, and I hope that you enjoy it. Now, let our service begin.
Okay, good morning, everybody. It's good. I know you're out there joining us. Evan and I are here in the church. The building still exists. It's empty, as you know, besides us, but it sure would be nice to gather here at some point soon. This morning's opening words are from the Reverend Sophia Lyon Fahs, who we will be honoring this morning. She writes this. It's called "We Gather in Reverence." We gather in reverence before the wonder of life, the wonder of this moment, the wonder of being together so close, yet so apart, each hidden in our own secret chamber, each listening, each trying to speak, yet none fully understanding and none fully understood. We gather in reverence before all intangible things that eyes see not, nor ears can detect, that hands can never touch, that space cannot hold, and time cannot measure. We have a special treat this morning. We're going to have a bridging ceremony. As you know, that's a UU ritual when we celebrate the coming of age of our youth. And today we are going to honor Heidi's daughter, Cora. And so I'm looking forward to doing that. She has been a gift among us, both her and her mom. However, that'll be coming up in just a moment, but I'm inviting you to join in our opening hymn this morning, hymn number 349, "We Gather Together."
morning. My name is Susan Enwright Hicks, and for the past year, it's been my delight to serve as the Director of Religious Education for the Union Congregation of the Swananoa Valley. As part of this morning's service, we want to celebrate the accomplishments of a special young woman, Cora Blozan, our Bridging High School graduate. The Bridging ceremony is a traditional ritual in Unitarian Universalist communities to acknowledge a youth's transition to adulthood. In the best of times, this shift from childhood to young adult can be difficult to manage, confusing, and isolating. This is perhaps even more so when all the world seems difficult to manage, confusing, and isolating. Thus, it is even more important this year that we make a point of letting Cora know that we see her, we value her, we appreciate the unique gifts that she brings to our community, and that we continue to do all that we can as a congregation to support her on her journey. I appreciate your helping me with this important work today. Not quite a year ago, I had the great privilege of meeting Cora for the first time. She'd been tasked with helping her mother, Heidi, and I choose some fabrics that would decorate the room in which the teens were scheduled to meet that fall. I found Cora to be sweet and self-possessed, confident in her opinions, but open to the opinions of others. Over subsequent meetings, I learned that she is also very intelligent, passionate about her ideals, and thoughtful, as well as a better than average baby whisperer. If you read the June issue of Tidings, then you know that she's also an accomplished writer and very talented dancer. For these reasons and so many more, we are lucky to have had Cora amongst our community for so long. But I hardly need to tell you all that. I only just met her, and many of you have known her almost her whole life now. To that end, here are the words from some folks who know her rather better than I do, leaders from last year's teen class.
One of my first remembrances of Cora is right after I joined the congregation, and she was about, I'd say, 7 or 8 years old. And I thought to myself, that has to be the shyest little girl I have ever seen in my life. And she seemed to spend a lot of time clinging to her mom. So you can imagine what an opportunity and pleasure it was for me to watch Cora grow into this independent young adult who is so intelligent and kind and caring. But one of her characteristics that jumps out to me is her respectfulness. And I don't mean just respect for older people, but for everyone, all others, people who think differently and act differently and look differently. She is just so respectful to everyone. I will remember that she is a great social justice person. She worked on Room at the Inn with our congregation at least 2 times. I know that she's a volunteer in the wider community, which is very impressive for a teenager. And I will always remember that she and I and 2 other adults went to the 2017 Women's March in Washington, D.C. together. So I say goodbye. I wish you well, sending you love, and I hope you keep in touch. Thanks for the memories, Cora.
Graduation day. This vivid remembrance returned to me in a dream last night, though by this morning I wonder if it ever really happened. All of us siblings and a few close friends were gathered on the wide front porch of that sacred place that had nurtured each of us in varying ways yet prepared all of us well for our vastly different journeys to come. Some of us had returned a great distance to celebrate our youngest sibling's graduation. It would be years before we all gathered again for a sadder reason next. Our youngest wore her bright summer dress, so colorful against these blue hills. She looked so sweet, so young, so ready for whatever her next steps might be. Raucous conversations had flowed freely with the ritual sibling teasing of our youth. But then the moment became quiet enough to hear the babbling creek swelled with yesterday's rain. I laid my unopened book at my feet, as there would be plenty of time to read on the flight home. We all embraced this rare, softer moment, perhaps each aware of how special it had become. Now, many years later, in the early quiet of this morning, the late May stream swelled again with heavy rain. The birds happily announce this bright new day, even though the sun has not yet cleared the ridge.
Cora, I don't imagine that you will remember my face or my name for very many years, or perhaps very many weeks. But I would like you to remember one word that I shared with you some months ago now, and that is serendipity. That special occasion when you find something wonderful, something good, when you were searching for something else entirely. Serendip is a wonderful tropical island. It's Bali High, and by definition, you can't reach Serendip by plotting a course for it. You have to set sail for somewhere else and lose your bearings. And it's okay occasionally in your life to lose your bearings. That's what I'm hoping for you. And I'm hoping that you keep serendipity in mind. Love you, Cora. And look forward to seeing you again and hearing of your success in life.
Thank you all for those thoughtful words. And now those teen group leaders will join Michael and I in a blessing of Cora. We'd love for you all to help too. When invited, please help us extend this blessing to Cora with the words, "We bless you, we love you, may your life unfold with joy. Amen, and blessed be." Thank you. Cora Marie Lozanne, we bless you today.
May your mind be on fire with wonder and wisdom.
May your heart be aflame with love for this life.
Cora, may your hands be ignited with purpose.
And may your spirit be aglow with courage and compassion.
Cora, we just want you to know that you are a light unto the world, and you carry our steadfast love with you wherever you go.
We bless you, we love you. May your life unfold with joy. Amen, and blessed be. We bless
We
you,
bless you.
we love you. May your
May
life
your life unfold
Unfold
with joy.
with joy.
Amen,
Amen.
and
And
blessed be.
Blessed be.
It is also common for the Bridging Young Adults community to present that young person with a gift from the congregation as they make this transition. So to that end, Cora, on behalf of your loving UUCSV family, I present to you a gift certificate to the UA bookstore so that the next step on your religious education journey can be one of your own choosing, as well as Kayla Parker's Becoming a Spiritual Guide for Navigating Adulthood. I hope these serve you well. As it happens, Cora's mother has chosen a reading from this very book to be read as part of today's ceremony. Here's Heidi Lozanne with Go Boldly.
Go Boldly Blessing by Jean M. Olson. May you be brave enough to expose your aching woundedness and reveal your vulnerability. May you speak your deepest truths, knowing that they will change as you do. May you sing the music within you, composing your own melody, playing your own song with all your heart. May you draw, paint, sculpt, and sew, showing the world your vision. May you write letters, poetry, biography, slogans, graffiti, the great novel, laying bare your words to love and hate. May you love even though your heart breaks again and again. And until the end of your days, may your life be filled with possibilities and courage. That is from Becoming a Spiritual Guide for Navigating Adulthood.
Congratulations, Cora.
Congratulations, Cora. This morning's story for all ages will be read by our very own Bridging graduate, Cora Blozan. It was one of her favorites as a child, The Paper Bag Princess.
This is The Paper Bag Princess. I chose this book because it was one of my favorites growing up, and it's a very important lesson to learn. Elizabeth was a beautiful princess. She lived in a castle and had expensive princess clothes. She was going to marry a prince named Ronald. Unfortunately, a dragon smashed her castle, burned all of her clothes with his fiery breath, and carried off Prince Ronald. Elizabeth decided to chase the dragon and get Ronald back. She looked everywhere for something to wear, but the only thing she could find that was not burnt was a paper bag. So she put on the paper bag and followed the dragon. He was easy to follow because he left a trail of burnt forests and horses' bones. Finally, Elizabeth came to a castle with a large door that had a huge knocker on it. She took hold of the knocker and banged on the door. The dragon stuck his nose out of the door and said, "Well, princess, I love to eat princesses, but I have already eaten a whole castle today. I am a very busy dragon. Come back tomorrow." He slammed the door so fast that Elizabeth almost got her nose caught. Elizabeth grabbed a knocker and banged on the door again. The dragon stuck his nose out of the door and said, "Go away. I love to eat princesses, but I have already eaten a whole castle today. I am a very busy dragon. Come back tomorrow." "Wait," shouted Elizabeth. "Is it true that you are the smartest and fiercest dragon in the whole world?" "Yes," said the dragon. "Is it true," said Elizabeth, "that you can burn up 10 forests with your fiery breath?" "Oh, yes," said the dragon, and he took a huge, deep breath and breathed out so much fire that he burnt up 50 forests. "Fantastic," said Elizabeth, and the dragon took another huge breath and breathed out so much fire that he burnt up 100 forests. "Magnificent," said Elizabeth, and the dragon took another huge breath, but this time nothing came out. The dragon didn't even have enough fire to cook a meatball. Elizabeth said, "Dragon, is it true that you can fly around the world in just 10 seconds? "Why, yes," said the dragon, and jumped up and flew all the way around the world in just 10 seconds. He was very tired when he got back, but Elizabeth shouted, "Fantastic, do it again." So the dragon jumped up and flew around the whole world in just 20 seconds. When he got back, he was too tired to talk, and he lay down and went straight to sleep. Elizabeth whispered very softly, "Hey, dragon." The dragon didn't move at all. She lifted up the dragon's ear and put her head right inside. She shouted as loud as she could, "Hey, dragon." The dragon was so tired he didn't even move. Elizabeth walked right over the dragon and opened the door to the cave. There was Prince Ronald. He looked at her and said, "Elizabeth, you are a mess. You smell like ashes. Your hair is all tangled and you are wearing a dirty old paper bag. Come back when you are dressed like a real princess." "Ronald," said Elizabeth, "your clothes are really pretty and your hair is very neat. You look like a real prince, but you are a bum." They didn't get married after all.
This is the time in our service when we invite you to share a joy or a concern. We do this so that we can keep a pulse on what's going on in the congregation. And so now we invite you to share your journey this week and what you're going through or feeling now at this moment.
My joy today is that today, because I'm videotaping this on July 11th, is my wedding anniversary to Will, an amazing man, full of integrity, dry humor, and dependability. I posted it on Facebook. So that's my joy. Marriage, 22 years, looking forward to 22 more plus. Okay, thank you, church. Bye.
Hi, my name is Linus, and my joy is I found a wiggly tooth from my mouth on Friday, and I went when I was eating an apple, and I went and told my parents, and they were so excited. Bye, thank you.
We thank you for any of you who decided that you did not want to share. Just know that we keep you as part of our community, as part of this congregation, in our hearts and in our minds. I want to share a meditation. This is specifically for Cora and our youth, but for all children. And it's a meditation by Robert Kaufman. Cora, this one's for you. We wish for you a storm or two that you may enjoy the calm. We wish for you tranquility in time of trial. We wish you a cool breeze on a warm day and pale white clouds that you may better appreciate the blueness of the sky. We wish you darkness that you may see the stars. We wish you anticipation of high adventure, and we wish you the courage to avoid battle. We wish you a sense of wonder and poetry and music. We wish you companionship that you may appreciate solitude. We wish you a friend who will understand you and understanding so that you may have a friend. We wish you may become all that you wish to be and more than you hope that you can be. We wish you a flower to smell, a hand to touch, a voice to cheer, a heart to gladden. And we wish you someone to love as we love you. So go boldly, Cora, into the life that awaits you, knowing that you are held and blessed by life and those of us here. And now, while our hearts and minds are one, I leave you with the eloquence of silence. And so it is. Amen. This is the time in the service when we invite you to give gifts, to collect our offering. We thank you in advance for your generosity. There's a PayPal tab, I think, where you can pay or send a donation online. And so we, with thanks in our hearts for the gifts that you give, and for, of course, the gift of life, we bring forth these our gifts to sustain and to deepen our commitment to our community and the common life. And thank you again. All right, today we are going to celebrate a pillar of the UURE movement, for lack of a better word, Sophia Lyon Fahs. Sophia Lyon Fahs was born August 2nd, 1876, to Presbyterian missionaries in China. And Sophia returned to the United States, and specifically to Wooster, Ohio, with her family when she was just a mere toddler. There she excelled academically, and she graduated with honors from the College of Wooster. Sophia Lyon married Charles Harvey Fahs, who shared her dream of missionary work. But we know that things changed, that life has changed, and their plans changed. The young couple headed for New York City for Charles's employment. Motherhood and academia consumed Sophia, and she had earned an MA from Teachers College at Columbia University, and she taught in a number of Sunday schools. She and Charles became parents of 5 children, 2 of whom they lost to illness. And at the age of 47 years young, Fahs began classes at Union Theological Seminary, my alma mater, and she graduated in 1926 with a Bachelor's of Divinity degree. The next year, 1927, she joined the faculty of Union's Department of Religious Education, and within a few years, she began teaching at Riverside Church. Now, Fahs believed deeply, and she taught that children's religious development was driven by their sense of wonder and questioning mind. They were not to be indoctrinated. They were not to be beliefs forced on them, if you will, and prescribed by the belief of others. And her teaching was unorthodox for the time, and of course it drew much criticism, as you can imagine, especially from other faculty. But she pressed on. Aren't you glad she did? Fahs had long been intrigued by the Unitarians' curricula in religious education. Beacon Press had invited her to become editor of its course material. As editor, author, and sought-after workshop leader, she thrived within the Unitarian denomination, and in 1945, she became a Unitarian. At the age of 82, she was ordained a Unitarian minister. As the Reverend Sophia Lyon Fahs, she continued on the staff of what had then become the Unitarian Universalist Association until retiring at the age of 88. She continued to write and to teach into her 90s. Now, she's received accolades from luminaries in religious education across multiple faith traditions, and honorary degrees from multiple faith traditions. Chicago's Meadville Lombard Seminary, it's a UU seminary, honors her with the Fahs Collaborative, which is a cohort of religious educators overseeing programs and research. It's about time for this recognition, for she may not have broken the glass ceiling during her time, but she certainly managed to put a dent in it. Now, I wonder what she would say now about the time we are living in and the way our society, our culture, treats and educates our children. I can only imagine. Now, we have at least 3 readings from her in our gray hymnal. Our opening words this morning are from number 439, written by Reverend Fahs. But how are these words? How about these words from reading number 616? It's a Christmas reading. I'm sure you may remember it. It's called, "For So the Children Come." For so the children come, and so they have been coming, always in the same way. They come born of the seed of man and woman. No angels herald their beginnings. No prophets predict their future courses. No wise men see a star to show where to find the baby that will save humankind. Yet each night a child is born is a holy night. Fathers and mothers sitting beside their children's cribs feel glory in the sight of a new life beginning. They ask, where and how will this new life end? Or will it never end? Each night a child is born is a holy night. It's a time for singing, a time for wondering, and a time for worshiping. And how about this little gem? This is hymn number 657. It matters what we believe. She writes, some beliefs are like walled gardens. They encourage exclusiveness and the feeling of being especially privileged. Some beliefs are like shadows, clouding children's days with fears of unknown calamities. Some beliefs are divisive, separating the saved from the unsaved, separating friends from enemies. Some beliefs, like blinders, shutting off the power to choose one's own direction. Some beliefs weaken a person's selfhood. They blight the growth of resourcefulness. Some beliefs are rigid, like the body of death, impotent in a changing world. But there are other beliefs. Other beliefs are pliable, like the young sapling, ever growing with the upward thrust of life. And so the question becomes this morning, does our society really value our children? And now that I'm a parent, this question looms large, and I can tell you from experience, that some of you already know, that no, it is not always easy to be a parent. But I can also share with you, it is not always easy to be a child. In my experience, the parent's role is to model for the child. After all, children will do what they see you do and not necessarily what you say. And because there's no set of instructions on just how to raise these precious ones, parenting, or rather I should say, good and effective parenting, is the most difficult job an adult will ever have to do in this life. This is just my opinion. And we parents are only human beings. We are prone to making mistakes. And yet, the greatest gift we can give our children at any age is to love them and to show them, and this is crucial, that we are willing to change. That we are willing to change. And why? Because we have to remember that children have rights too. They may not vote, but they still have rights. In short, children are people too. Many times we underestimate our influence and our responsibility to our children because so many times they may seem not to acknowledge our presence, except in times to resist or to ignore us. But, you know, we have to remember we can model our years of experience for them, and it is from this perspective that sometimes we are too quick to judge our children because they have not yet lived their lives. They have not had a chance to make their own discoveries about life, and they do have a right to, as much as humanly possible, to have a happy childhood, as much as is humanly possible. Pardon me. And like adults, they have a right to be vulnerable, they have a right to be happy, they have a right to be sad and needy, and a right to be loved. And these emotions are worthy of respect and acknowledgement. Children want what they want when they want it. Freud coined the phrase, His Majesty the baby, or Her Majesty the baby. They are ego-centered, just like our own inner children can be as adults. And yet, we fear neediness in this culture. We fear vulnerability in this culture, and we have to appear so strong all of the time. We fear neediness and vulnerability so much because most likely we fear it in ourselves. And it does not matter if we see it in women or children or in our GBLTQ brothers and sisters or in ourselves. Time and time again, history has shown us that when we do not understand something that we fear, we will attempt to destroy it. Perhaps this is why Carl Jung once said that the most dangerous thing to the life of a child is the unlived life of the parent. One of the measures of our culture in the future will be how we treat the vulnerable in our society, how we treat our children. They are not things and should not be treated as such. We as adults create the atmosphere, the environment from which they absorb what we really mean, but only by the climate we create. Howard Thurman reminds us that a child can learn more from the tone of our voices and our facial expressions when we speak than from all of the direct statements we make to them. We may speak of love and respect for others, but if the child sees the deed or hears the harsh word behind another's back, all of these things will influence the inner life of the child. Thurman goes on to say that if we model, and there's that word again, if we model what it means to be good to others, as well as to the child, well, let's just say our actions will be the greatest sermon they either hear or see. For if we love our children as well as others, all the hate in the world will not prevail against this model of love. It is also crucial that we do not ever lie to our children. In this way, the child knows that no matter how fanciful or imaginative his or her words or behavior may be, mom and dad's words are dependable. This provides emotional security and stability, which will carry them and serve them well all the days of their lives. It will be the gift that keeps on giving. Our UU religious education provides this kind of stability, I would say, and emotional security for our children and our youth. During this time in our congregational history, we are extremely fortunate to have so many of our volunteer leaders invested in our youth and their religious education. We are extremely fortunate to have Catherine Coyle, Heidi Blozan, Carolyn Shorkey, Jim Carillon, Jesse and Michael Figueroa, and others who I may not have mentioned, and please forgive me, but they are numerous. And we also have a most talented RE director in Susan Enwright Hicks, who has really helped turn things around here in our congregation. Unitarian Universalist religious education is based on the child's experience of wonder and questioning, just as Reverend Fahs would have liked it to be. It stresses the building of self-esteem, finding connectedness to others and to nature, and developing the understanding and appreciation of both the diversity and the unity of the world's populations. And so, no, we do not pretend to aspire to take away the role and responsibility of parents. That is not our job. But we do encourage community. We encourage responsibility to that community and the world at large by our being examples of our 7 UU principles and the creativity and courage to cultivate and to develop one's own inner landscape, one's own theology, if you will. We also encourage this in our adult RE as well. Religious education for Unitarian Universalist children focuses on teaching our children about the religious world and encouraging them to take their place in it. How, you ask? Well, I'm glad. Through stories, discussions, games, art projects, and music, our children learn about our shared Unitarian Universalist values. They learn how to distinguish right from wrong, the diversity of religious beliefs that are out there, and the importance of questioning and forming their own beliefs. UU minister and scholar James Luther Adams says it best when he writes that church is a place where you can practice what it means to be human. That's why we come to church, to practice what it means to be human. I like that idea. Many of our children spend hours in front of screens. TV screens, computer screens, smartphones, video games, movie screens, screening themselves out of life. They are living in imaginary worlds instead of reality, and UURE teaches them never to be afraid to fail. UURE teaches them not to believe in scarcity, but that there is always enough. UURE teaches them that there are no losers, only those who have lost their way. And education is the single most important tool if there is to be societal transformation. Those in power know. They know this as well. And that is why they do everything they can to curtail and control the education of the populace. The best way to control any group of people is to control their minds. And the way to do that is to begin with the young. Send them all to the same school, teach them all the same things, let them know that to deviate from this way of learning is unacceptable. But our teachers know that to ask children to just memorize facts is to teach them to recreate the past. Our own UU curriculum invites youth to explore concepts and ideas such as honesty, such as fairness and equality and acceptance, and we invite them to create a new future with others whose ideas may be different from theirs. To reduce learning to sheer memorization is to teach them to duplicate the lives of their parents. They will come from the same knowledge, hold the same views, embrace the same beliefs. make the same mistakes, think the same thoughts, and exhibit the same behavior. No. We want our children to not duplicate, but to create. Duplication is one thing, creation is another. And in short, this is why we try to, this is what we try, and why we try to teach you religious education to all our children from the ages 8 to 80. We teach them that you are one with creation and all things are part of one living system. We teach them that because of this oneness, you have the power to create what you wish to experience in your life. You create by what you think and do. And there are no mistakes in creation. You are perfect just as you are. Creation is the fulfillment of life. You are here to grow and to evolve and to love. And life will be your greatest teacher. And yes, we teach other things as well, but this is crucial. We teach other things. And when it's all said and done, all I'm asking of you, those of you listening, is that you support our RE teachers and students. If you want to serve on a committee or volunteer for something, our religious education instructors are here, and our youth could sure use your help. Do what you can, though. Your return on your investment is a future generation that will know no limits to the good that they can do in the world. And because we stand on the shoulders of so many, especially the shoulders of Sophia Lyon Fahs, we acknowledge her this morning. We commemorate, we lift her up, we celebrate her. With a passion for understanding how children learn and grow, Unitarian Universalism as her chosen faith, and writing and speaking of her faith encapsulated Fahs' professional path. It launched her, just as commitment to marriage and family marked her personal life. I am ever grateful for her life and legacy, and I have to say, I feel that you should be too. As you use, let us acknowledge our debt and our gratitude to the Reverend Sophia Lyon Fahs. May it always be so. Amen, and blessed be. And now I invite you in our closing hymn, singing our closing hymn, number 18, What Wondrous Love. And now, may love hallow every home and every heart, and may the light of truth shine in you and among you, and bless you with wisdom, with strength, and with peace. Amen. And have a wonderful Sunday afternoon. Yay.
birthday and do it again.
Yeah, happy birthday. The phone was ringing. Happy birthday.